into part two. We've got three more things. The first part is building 1 and 2 variable data tables, and then we're going to get into a forecast sheet as well. So a data table is an option on the what if analysis button, and a data table it takes a range of cells that calculates the results of one or more formulas. So you're able to create a lot of different scenarios like we are right here with the possible total revenue levels and compare that to what extrapolated out what the total expenses would be and the particular net income. And then we'll take two variables here in just a minute. So our one revenue right here is our different total revenue, possible total revenue levels. And we'll see which one this is going to be dealing with here in just a minute. So the key to this one is setting it up correctly, that's for sure. And we're going to do our first one here on the revenue sheet. So we're going to create a one variable data table. We're going to select cell I3, and notice that that is a cell above our first level there. So that's very important. Okay, this cell is one column to the right and one row above the first input level, which is H4. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a reference here, and we're going to go equal. And in this case, it's to B15, which we're looking at different revenue for January. Oops, sorry, B15, which is our total expenses, and press enter. This creates a reference to the total expenses for January, which right now is $78,749. And okay, and then that was for January. Now we're going to go select J3, which is right here, and we're going to go create a reference for this one too, which is equal B17. So notice we're just looking at January right now. We'll press enter. So now we're ready to do our data table. So for this one, we're going to select cells H3, which is right here, through J14, which is our whole data table, including our inputs up there at the top. And then we're going to go to our data, and we're going to go to our what if analysis, and we're going to do a data table. And most of this will be set up in terms of being ready to go, but we got to do our row input cell and our column. So we're going to start with the column, and our column is cell B8. That's the one that we are changing things to on this one. The January revenue amount will be replaced by the input values that we see in column H. Since this is just one variable, we only need to do our column since it's set up as a column, and we click OK. And you can see there it is. And then we could set this up as all of these as dollar amounts, do accounting format, and decrease our decimal places, and that is done. So based upon $100,000, the way things set right now, then you would see that our net income would be $22,000 because our total expenses would drop to $78,000. If that's just kind of averaging it out, and you can see as we go up that we're continuing our margin. We've got this all the way to $200,000 of revenue. Our expenses would go up to $156,000, but our net income would be $44,000. So now let's do a two variable data table as we go down here below. Okay, so let's go to cell H17, which is right here, to place the formula one row above and one column. This is going to be our input. We're going to go equal, and we're going to be looking at B17, which is our net income again. And we'll press reference enter to reference our net income. So now we're going to select H17 all the way through and select our data table. And guess what? We're going to do our what if analysis and data table again, but we're going to fill in both of these because we have two different ones. So the row that we're going to be looking at here, which we're looking at right up here, possible total expenses. We're going to select our current total expenses, and then our column, possible total revenue that we're looking at, is cell B8. That's our column one, which is our total revenue. So based upon those two different variables, we're going to see what our net income will be at our different levels. Okay, and we click OK on that, and it runs it. You set all these up as accounting. And then we can look based upon $180,000 of revenue and 90,000 of total expenses, of course, that would be 90,000 of net income. And then we've got some different areas. This would help to say, budgeting wise, some different ways that they want to look at some things. All right. And for instance, we can make some changes. So if we went to I-17, which is right here, we could change that and reduce it, and it'll extrapolate all those out for us. If we went to J17 and adjusted this one to 80,000, and then we could create our own series like this and adjust these across, and it changes everything as we go along. Okay, so you can do a lot of information with those data tables to help you out. Last thing on this one. So another thing that you look at is you can see we've got these different dates. This is our product number and how many we've sold. One thing a businesses like to do is forecast in the future, so we can do a forecast worksheet. So if I select A4 and I do the headings on this as well and our sold, okay, and I want to go to my data tab again. We also have this forecast sheet. And you have two choices. You can either do a bar graph. The textbook shows a bar graph, and this one will show you a line chart. And we'll create this one, and it creates a chart for us. And there it is. And for this one, we're going to select it, and we're going to move it to a sheet by itself. So there's our chart. Move the chart to a new sheet, and we're going to call it forecast sheet. Okay, and there it is. Okay, then you can format this like anything else. Like if we want style 9, change how that looks. If we go to, if you remember how to do this, go to our chart elements in our current selection area here, and let's do our axis down here at the bottom. There's some advanced things we can do here as well. I want to get this format axis over here on the right to be able to do some advanced things. I want to go the access options, make sure we got the correct ones, and we're going to do our labels down here. So I'm going to reduce that one, go into my labels. I'm going to change my interval unit to 2, change the way this looks. Okay, so there's not as many there. That shows every other month. Another thing is if I select the legend, if I want to move it to the bottom, I can do that. That would be something. And let's say, for instance, I wanted to do my chart elements, and I want to do a chart title, and I wanted to set it up centered overlay. There it is. Give it a name. Forecasted sales for product number 101. Whoops. 101. And then I want to move that. A little hard to move this. Once I click and drag, and they want it somewhere over in this area, and there it goes. Okay, so that's a forecast sheet, and again, it shows the blue is what currently has happened, and they're basing it on 3 possibilities, because this one's pretty erratic, of what could happen in the future. So pretty cool thing, and some tools that you can use to extrapolate numbers and look at possible scenarios. Okay, the big one's coming up next with some advanced statistics, so be sure to check out section 2 and read through it, and then we'll move into section 3.